right, guys, welcome to another episode of Real Talk Russ. I'm your host, Russ Martini, joined by my co-host, best friend, Tyler. And we're bringing to you again, guys, with something pretty interesting. So we're going to have a pretty interesting show on this one. We'll kick it off.
Yep.
So here we go. On this episode, we're going to talk about what is a rare collectible. So sitting right here in front of us, in front of you guys, you're going to see this NetherRealm Spawn 9.8. And on this book, it is autographed, it is signed. It's number 306. You're going to see the autographs right over here. Beautiful book. Beautiful book. At one point in time, the highest this thing was running was like 15, 16,000. People had this up on eBay for it. Is it actually worth that? And that's kind of what we're going to talk about, right? What made this book what it is, right? What made this book so rare? What made it so controversial to where everyone was, talking about it? And it really created a situation in the comic world and collectors world where essentially people kind of hope this never happens again. And we're going to talk about what exactly happened with it. So here's a rare look at a very rare book. We have one, here at Real Talk Russ, we got one. Actually, we got two. Two. And we're going to get into that. So we've been teasing about it and dancing around it. As you guys know, I'm a collector, right? I collect a lot of shit, dude. You know this.
Yep.
As long as you've known me, dude, I've always collected stuff.
A little too much, but yeah.
Yeah, one thing or another, I've always collected something. But you also collect.
I do.
You do have things that you collect that are prized. And it's like, why do you think we do that? Why do you think we collect things?
For me, it's the memories of childhood. So I'm a Pokemon collector. I grew up back when Pokemon first came out. I'm an old guy, I know. And it kind of is just like the nostalgia of it, and the advancement of this stuff. I used to read comics, I used to read mangas, all those kind of things. And now in today's world, those things are so popular and they're so accepted. Like back then, you couldn't be the kid with Pokemon cards or even reading a Spawn comic,
Yeah.
But Spawn in particular is how me and my brother kind of bonded when we were younger. Because growing up in a house with three brothers, we always fought, we always did all those kind of things. But my older brother, he loved Spawn comics, the Seth MacFarlane, the old stuff, right? And that's kind of how I got into it. So now when I see something like this, it reminds me, back in that 2-bedroom house where I was with my brother and we would sit and read Spawn comics, and it's just the nostalgia of it, I think, the memory of it.
Yeah, I think for me in that sense, I completely relate. There's a book that I will throw up, and we're gonna include these. Actually, James, could you do me a favor? Could you grab me the War Machine signed by Robert Downey Jr. and Stan Lee?
War Machine.
It's I know I have to specify which one. I think it's the one closest to me. Yeah, that one. So, guys, this is James, the man in the chair. But this book right here, this book is the one that was my thing. You guys know War Machine, right? But this one is, and this one's signed by Robert Downey Jr. and Stan Lee. War Machine #1. But yeah, this was it, dude. And this was what does that, for me. It does what you're talking about. It brings that sense of honestly, just it brings your childhood, this nostalgia back.
Yeah.
And for me, that was definitely a holy grail of mine. I always wanted to have War Machine signed. Now I just need to get Don Cheadle to sign this one. I have another one. That's why I had to specify, because the other one is signed by Don Cheadle, but it's missing Stan Lee and Robert Downey Jr. So this one I want to get complete by getting Don Cheadle. I got the other one as backup. As sounds stupid as that sounds, because I do need one from Don Cheadle at least one point or another signed. So that's why I have the two. At least they can kind of make one, and I can be happy. But going back to the original, question, I think for me it's like what you said, dude. It's a way to kind of lock in our childhood. What do I collect? I'm not too big on Pokemon cards. I have one particular that I love, which is my holographic Articuno fossil. So I absolutely love that card, and it's first edition, so I love it. So that's something I collect as far as Pokemon goes. Dark Charmeleon is another one that I love and have. And then comics, I have a lot of them. All these that you're seeing here and stuff that we have. And then I think next is Star Wars memorabilia.
Yeah, you got a lot of that.
A lot, and lightsabers, movie props, that kind of stuff. But it goes right back into, it connects us to our childhood. Mm-hmm. And
it connects us to a feeling that we remember when we were young. Like that memory, and it's I remember what it was like when I first read a Spawn comic, and I remember where I was. I can vividly tell you where I was and what I was doing. And there's so few moments like that or things that can point to those parts of your life to where you can remember. Because we've talked on other episodes, like we didn't have the best childhoods growing up. Everyone's had trauma. I'm not trying to get into that. But we tend not to focus on the traumas that we've had in life. I mean, it shaped who we are. But if in the midst of that, we can find a stupid comic book that made us happy for a brief moment in time, those are the things that we remember forever.
Yeah.
And then to be fair, as we grew up, we realized like this Bond comic was worth $16,000. We're like, oh shit, you know what I mean? So a little bit of both, but I think the majority of it is just that memory. Because there's some cards like that come out now that I've never even heard of these Pokemon, but they're valuable. So I obtain them. You know what I mean? And but for sure, it's that there was a brief moment in time when I was growing up that I smiled. You know what I mean? As stupid as that sounds.
No.
No,
dude.
And there was a brief moment in time where me and my brother were not fucking fist fighting. You know what I mean? And we could just look at each other and be like, hey, this is dope. And we bonded over it.
Those you guys fight over who wanted the comic.
Oh, yeah. We fought later about it, but like it was just that brief moment of just, I'm okay. You know what I mean? And that kind of brings me back to that stuff, Like you've been in my room, we've all been in my room. And like I have stands of all the cards that I decorate, and like every morning I wake up and I look at it and it's kind of like, okay, you know what I mean? It's like it's very brief, very brief, but that's what
And that's, I think, like you kind of hit the nail on the head, which all my rambling and yapping, I didn't kind of hit, but you did, and that's it brings us in touch with some memory, right, of our childhood or something where it makes us smile for only even a minute, right? We're happy. And that's, I think, one form of collector. Then you get like the hoarding collectors.
Yeah.
Who they just like, they got to have everything, right? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, they probably like lock it up and never show it to anybody, but they don't care. Like, for them, that's all that matters, dude. Is like, no, I got this. Like, that's all I care about. And that's cool. Like, fine. That's to each their own. Then you have the other ones where like they kind of like they want to just show it off to people.
Yeah.
And that's cool too, but like
if you have the audience,
they don't even care, I think, probably about what it like. They would have that just because RDJ signed it, not because it means anything to them.
Yeah.
Like for me, it would take some serious convincing for me to ever let this one go, and I honestly might not even. It would have to be some absurd, insane amount of money to where it's going to better my family and everybody around me, you, me, like before I let that thing go.
Well, and to that point, like we have memorabilia between each other, right? So a few years back, you gave me a signed by RDJ poster, right, from him in Endgame.
Yeah.
Nobody can buy that from me. I will never get rid of it. I don't care what you're offering. I don't care because it's one of those things. It's the memory of me and my friend, me and my memories and all that. And like those things to me are priceless. Like you can't put anything on it. I still have it tucked away, like covered from sunlight and like room light, all that kind of stuff, And like those things to me, those are my personal collection.
Yeah.
But it's not for showing off. And that's what you said, the differences between the type of collectors, I do it, like those kind of things I will keep forever. Like the Tommy Shelby poster you bought me, that's never going nowhere. Yeah. I don't care if Tommy Shelby himself came in and was like, hey, I'll give you $10,000 for it. Nope. That's mine. Yeah. Because of what it means to me.
Do you not know who I am? I gotta give you another. I'll sign the other one right now. You're like,
I'll make you up. Yeah, no. But it's not the point, it's the memories to me which is the most important. Yeah. And those are the reasons why we do things like this, And like I said, like Spawn to me, I think was the first comic that me and my brother, I keep almost saying his name every time. I'm glad I don't.
Yeah, you can say his name unless he doesn't want you to.
I don't want to say his name. I don't want anyone to know him. But like I remember he had like a stack of them. He had like the first editions, all those kind of things, and I would read them, and I would like sneak into his room and read them, and then like one day he caught me like reading them. I'm like, these are dope, He was mad at first, but then it's just those things. Like to me, that means more than any dollar amount that you can throw on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if not, then like why am I interested in this hobby? Why do I want to collect? Why? We've met people, we've interviewed people that just they collect it for the money, which is fine. I don't hate them for it.
Yeah.
But for me, and I think for you too, I think I can speak on this. It's something that if I'm going to do it full force, I need to be invested in it. I need to have a reason why I want to do it. Like in our current jobs, we're not about that company or whatever. We're just doing it for a paycheck, and that's where we find those little holes in ourselves. Like we want more fulfillment. And something like this and something like collectibles that like we grew up doing. That's what we're invested in because we have something to attach it to. We have a memory to attach it to, a person to attach it to. you know, like James and I, we've grown up together for a long time, and we've always like bonded over Spider-Man's super stuff, right? Anime, all this kind of shit.
It's me, Spider-Man.
He's not Italian.
He's Italian.
Just so you know.
He's Italian.
But like even like yesterday, he came into work, and I sat there and we're talking about anime.
Yeah.
It's not even like, hey, what's going on in your life? Hey, what show are you watching? You know, and like we're talking about that kind of stuff. And I'm trying to throw him into like Tower of God, this new anime that I'm into, which you guys should check out. It's really good. But you know, and like that's the stuff that we bond over. So like those moments are so precious to me, right? And that's how we invest in these things. That's why we're passionate about what we do.
Yeah.
It's passionate as how we do this podcast, how we do the whatnots that we do, you know, all those kind of things. So
I think you kind of tapped in a little bit. I actually self-discovery right now. So I just figured out something about myself and what you said. I do like certain things that I collect are all about the memory and what it means to me. So like that War Machine is like that Tommy Shelby, Cillian Murphy, you know, poster, right? Like, or picture. That's what that is for me, right? There's a memory attached to it. There's something there attached to it. And then furthermore, this one, when I got it signed by RDJ, it was actually with that picture that I got you. Yeah. So those were grouped together when he signed them. So that's why you're right. Like it's not gonna be sold unless it benefits all of us, and somehow we're like,
unless it's like so crazy,
yeah, dude,
and I'll look at you like, sorry, dude, I sold the picture. But we just made $10 million.
Yeah, exactly. You know, but I think that's part of like a lot of the stuff I collect. But then you have even this Spawn book where it's kind of like it might be rare, it might be valuable, it might be something that's cool to have, but I would let it go.
Yeah,
and it, just as quick, I would let it go for whatever reason. It doesn't even really matter the reason. Like if you're like, hey dude, I need, you know, fucking foot surgery and I need some cash. All right, cool. I'm selling this fucking Spawn book. Like it's no big deal, right? I'm not even thinking twice about this. Yeah. Cool, no problem. But and that's kind of the other stuff. Like I have like a lot of like lightsabers and Star Wars shit. I'd let that shit go in a heartbeat. Yeah. Like it does remind me of my childhood, but I'm not connected to it in that way. I know a lot of the stuff that you have, you're very selective. You are very selective. If you're gonna have it, you're gonna collect it. It's gotta be like worth the time and effort and money you're going to put into it. Because if not, you're not going to fucking waste your time. Yeah. Like, you are very selective like that, dude.
Dude, there's cards that I'll spend more money than I should just because Jen thinks it's cute. You know what I mean? But to me, you know what I mean? Like, I see her, like, when she opens the package, like, it's worth it. You know, she's like, oh, my God, this reminds me of whatever it is, right?
So
like,
pretty much Snorlax, anything.
Anything.
Anything that looks like Squirt.
Anything that looks like Squirt, right? Like... Because you remember, like on my little stand in my room, like we had like actually like really nice collectibles up there. Now it's like cheap $10 cards, but they remind her of someone. But you know what? And that's why that's the other part of the collecting that we do, right? And it's just those things are important to me. Like it's something as simple as fucking buying your girlfriend a Pokemon card, who wasn't even into Pokemon before you met her, but she sees it, and for that minute, she gets a smile, gets happy, right?
It's worth it.
And like. Even like back to what we were talking about earlier, like Spawn, you weren't into Spawn not too long ago. But do you remember what sparked that? Is I told you that part of me and my brother, and then you, being a friend, you're like, fuck, dude, I'm going to invest in Spawn. And that's how we led to this comic.
I actually got you one of these.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you own a 9.4. It's the exact same thing, but 9.4.
Yeah, and it's like those are the kind of things that connect me to this. That's why like the Spawn comic is important on like multiple levels to me, right? Like I shared a moment with you, and then you took that and invested in it because it was important to me, right? Yeah. Important to me and my brother. My brother and I haven't talked about Spawn since fucking 2000.
Now, don't show him your fucking
like
book.
1998.
Don't show him the fucking book because now he's going to fucking fight you for it.
Oh, like, dude. And you know my brother, he's all into collecting again too, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing, like, because you and I have always been big into collectibles, but I kind of took like a hiatus from it. I was like, nah, you know, like I'm not feeling that connection with it. But then like the moment I did, and what was funny is my nephew came into it.
I remember, dude. It was during Christmas, dude.
4 years old, bro. And we're opening Pokemon packs on my counter. And I'm like, dude, this is dope.
Yeah, I remember you looking over and you're like, dude.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah, it was during Christmas, dude. I'm
like, you're like, here it goes.
It was Christmas Day. I will not forget it. And there we are sitting at Ty's table, and like everyone's opening shit, right? And actually, gifts are already done opening. Gifts already been done open. But your nephew, I won't say his name, but he was sitting at the table, and he's just like, and I remember you're like, no, only me and Uncle Russ are gonna open these because you don't know how to fucking open cards. And he's just like, okay, so we're sitting there cutting them open, and then like we're grabbing them by the side, and then I just saw this like trigger, dude, and you were like, yeah, dude, I think I'm gonna start collecting these things again.
What's funny is the muscle memory. Like we haven't opened packs since we were that age, right? Dude. But we knew exactly how to hold them. Hey, don't damage the corners, you know, all that, and it instinctively kicked in. And it just reminded me of sitting there opening packs with my brothers. You know? Like I have a step family as well that I won't talk too much about them, but that's kind of even how we got along. We would go to comic book stores and we would open Pokemon packs, dude, and do the tournaments and all that kind of stuff. And so Like it just instantly came back. And I was like, I know exactly how to handle all these. And it's been 25 years, dude, something like that, you know?
Yeah.
And it's so dope, dude. And like, it's a way, is it important in the grand scheme of things in life? No. But does it make me happy? Fuck yeah, dude. All day, you know? Like even Jen, she'll go, like randomly, she'll go to the store and buy stuff, right? And she'll just pick up a couple packs of cards. And we don't get shit from those cards because the packs are always fucking stupid. But that moment where we just sit and open a pack, it's dope. Yeah. You know what I mean? We just get to sit like, hey, hell yeah, the fun again. You know what I mean? And like to me, I think that's why we do it. And I think the passion obviously bleeds out in us when we do whatnot, we do whatever, right? And talk about these topics is because it just, the memories it brings, like we keep saying. So.
And that's a perfect segue into like the next part, right? So why are we sitting here with this
particular
freaking book? So that's me, you know, me as a collector and you as a collector, right? But we've talked about it. There's other people out there, you know, and I'll give a couple shout outs to some of those like popular people. Instagram Star Wars Replicas, Gabe, great guy. I know him. He's a really cool cat. And everyone I guarantee has probably seen this guy's collection at one point or another. You saw him on YouTube, I think, for the first time, way back when, and sent it to me, and I was like, dude, I want that room, right? And you know, you guys, maybe we'll throw a screenshot of his room up on screen so you guys can see it. It looks like something out of like a museum, dude. It's absolutely amazing, and what he has, right? But he's got a lot of, and that ties 100% with him too. He collects for his childhood. It, you know, reminds him of all that stuff that he grew up with or grew up without, and you know, it reminds him of his childhood, just like you and I. But there are other people out there that just collect solely based for the rarity of something.
Yep.
And I think that's where this book got those people. So sorry if you were one of those guys that got by that book.
And if you haven't found out yet,
you won't find out. So for those of you that are like, all right, guys, enough of the fucking, like, what are you talking about? What's up with this book? So Spawn, number 306, NetherRealm edition, right? This book in 2020 was supposed to be released at the NetherRealm gaming event that they had for gamers. Now, you guys all know what happened in 2020. COVID hit.
Yep.
Unforeseen. No one knew that was, the public didn't know that was going to happen, right? We didn't know that shit was going to be what it was. Yeah. So what happened during one of these gamer conventions, and these things are huge.
Yep.
They usually, they're like kind of like, who remembers like E3 kind of conventions? They're kind of like that, but it's huge for the gamer world. Like Twitch, all those guys, they all follow these things. And there was a huge gaming event. Well, once again, like we mentioned on episode 1 of this fucking thing, these things, the way these work is you have the gaming community, the comic community, the card community. We all kind of are all in the same, you know, even the Hollywood industry, we're all kind of tied in together.
Yeah.
So NetherRealm essentially said, hey, we're going to release these books to everyone who attends that event. Well, that
exclusive for the event,
exclusive, as an exclusive comic for that event. But what ended up happening is the only people that could attend the event were the gamers.
Because COVID.
Yeah, and there were only like 50 people that were actually going to be there in attendance at this event, right? Not staff or any of that, just the actual attendees. So they gave 50 copies of these out. So everyone who attended for that reason got a book, essentially. Hence, when then all of a sudden they were like, this is the rarest book. For those of you in the comic industry that know this, comic books, minimum, typically have to be between 1,000 print to 1,200, somewhere in there. They don't print out less. Now, they will print out that run. Now, it's up to you. Like, say, Tyler, you're going to drop an exclusive comic, and you're like, yeah, I want to have, you know, the Real Talk Russ exclusive comic. And they're like, cool, you still got to print 1,000. You're like, but I only want 100. You could have whatever you want. You're going to pay for 1,000, fucking take a shit on the rest, burn the rest, donate them, do whatever you want.
Yep.
But that's up to you. But we still have to get at least 1,000. So that's what they're going to do. Typically, sometimes it's 1,200, depending on what you're doing. So that's your print run, right? And they call it a print run. That's what they did with this book. So we know that the number of those actually made was probably in the 1,200 range. Mm-hmm. So then they bring all these books to this event, and they pass out the 50 books to the people that were attendees. So they all got them. They're like, all right, cool. They're all waving them around, stuff, great. They get into their gaming event. Event's over. Time moves on. Now, what happened to the rest of the books, right?
What was supposed to happen?
Yeah. So no official word was ever put out, to my knowledge. Once again, I don't want to get sued or someone come after me. To my knowledge, based off of all the information that we found, no one has ever put out an official statement saying this is the official number of books that were released. This is the official number of books that were destroyed or weren't distributed. So when there's a Twitter, or not Twitter, a Reddit post that someone showed, and I found this online, and maybe we can include it on there. I want to guarantee we can, because copyright issues, but maybe we'll show it up. But someone had posted a picture of an employee working at NetherRealm saying it's a coffee table just like this with like 20 of these books just laying on the coffee table. It said, hey, these were up for grabs. I grabbed several of them, and he posted that online. But everyone's like, hold on a second. There was only supposed to be 50.
Yeah.
Where did you get these books from? And the rest kind of disappeared. So this guy grabbed a stack, right? Went out. He started selling them on eBay. And people were buying them. Expensive amounts. Like people were dropping expensive amounts.
Because they thought it was the exclusive of the 50.
Yep. He never confirmed, to my knowledge again, how many he took. So once again, did he grab 25? Did he grab 100? No one knows.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. So he grabbed whatever he grabbed, sold what he sold, which is probably public record on eBay at this point. You could probably, if you know his username, track him down, see how many he sold, or whatever. But he sold them, right? And then that was all over Reddit, so people were kind of like, that was interesting. And then again, now people are kind of wondering, like, what's up with these books?
Yeah.
Now here's where I come in, okay? So not that long ago, and I will, for the sake of privacy and keeping these people's information confidential, I came across a person who actually is the key to how these books made it out to the public and hit the market. So this guy owns a shop. I won't say where, but he owns a comic book shop, and someone walks in. Now this person who walks in is from, they work for a studio, that's all I'll say. And said name person drops a box off and says, hey, do you want to buy all these comics? And, he's a comic shop owner. So he's like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's take a look at them. He starts looking them up, can't find the fucking books anywhere. Can't find any information on these books. Eventually he comes across and he's like, hold on a second, this can't be right. And he's seeing like this book is like online on eBay going for like $8,000. He's like, what? And he finds another one that I guess had sold for like $3,000. And he's like, dude, there's no freaking way. So, and that's the only two that he could find, right?
Yeah.
And he does some digging. He's like, dude, these are supposed to be rare. So he sits on them for like a month and then puts one up on eBay. And this book sells for a crazy amount, right? Yeah. And so now he sells it and he's like, So he has two other buddies that own different shops. He gets in contact with them and says, hey, I'll sell you, a group of these. So he sells one guy like 50 books, and then sells the other guy like, I think 150 books.
Yeah.
So then they slowly, like between him and one of the guys who he sold, they slowly start popping them out on eBay, right? So just little by little here and there, they start getting released. Now, did he know that these were supposed to be exclusive to 50? Probably not. I mean, he probably knew they were rare, and that's why they're hitting the market. But he has a box of 400 comics sitting in his shop, right? So that we know is it was 400 books that he had, and he sold one to or sold some to one guy in the same state, and another guy got some more in another state. Yeah. So they're kind of distributing these. Now all these books are hitting the market for a penny, because this guy the guy in the other state decided to drop these on a penny auction on eBay. Like 200 books hit the market all the same day.
So if he would have just been patient, he could have made
thousands, right? Yeah. But now he's just in a hurry to sell, right? He wants to get out there because these two guys are making sales. He's not fucking. Yeah. Once again, it's just a story. I don't know how much of this is 100% confirmed or whatever, but it's coming from the source of the guy who released all these books, who had the 400 books. Yeah. So that much I can tell you. Now, it's crazy to know this, but that's what happens. Now the market's flooded. All these people who wanted these books, they're fucking going crazy because now they're available. They're picking up for $300, $200, whatever the case is. Some would call it a doomsday scenario for a collector.
Yeah.
Before all these books hit, I think the record sale was $5,000 for one of these books that someone paid.
Like ungraded or?
No, it was
just raw copy.
Okay. $5,000. Now, all of a sudden, the next day, all these books are getting released, and people are picking them up for $300, and you just dropped $5,000. Like, dude, how are you feeling if you're that fucking guy?
Pretty shitty,
right? Like, it's pissed. I mean, a flood of emotions, and that's what happened, dude. It's freaking insane. So, once again, for those that collect it out of FOMO, out of whatever, just because it's a rare item, I gotta get it. Like, fuck, they're not even Spawn fans. They're just like, dude, this is
a rare book.
They just spend money. I've since then I've watched videos on YouTube, doing our research on all this, where people were burning these books. People were literally like taking a piss on the book. They're doing all kinds of stuff. Like, I was like just throwing it, kicking it around like it was a soccer ball, dude, just dragging it all over the floor. And he's probably one of those that dropped hundreds of dollars, was like, fuck, the book's worthless now at this point. I'm done with it, whatever.
Yeah.
Is it right that anyone's actions on what they did? I mean, we could argue that till the sun comes up. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
People did what they did, right? That doesn't change. But what I can tell you is, like, what does that mean for collectors? What does that mean for us?
That's the scary part, like, we can buy something based off its rarity, because collectors, we want stuff that is not common, that I can go to CVS and just buy it, or wherever, right? Walmart or whatever. We want the one of 10s or whatever. So even in, like, you remember back when we would go to comic stores and they would do like the little gaming events, even whether it was Magic, whether it was Pokemon, whether it was comics, whatever, there would always be like an exclusive item from there. Now, the little comic book stores in our town, probably not worth nothing, right? But some of the rarest cards in the world are from events like that. They're going for $150,000, like for collectibles from like Japan, right? Like they won a tournament somewhere.
Yeah.
And now if I go spend 150 grand on that, like we're chasing that holy grail, and then we find out that it's worth $10. I mean, it's worth $10 anyway, but like just because the rarity of it makes it worth all those things, right? Like some random tournament in Japan in 1999, you can't find these 10 cards that they made or 10 books that they made. And if it comes to find out that there's actually 1,000 copies of these going for pennies on eBay, it's going to kill the market of collectors, right? So that's why now, like, we kind of run into that even on Whatnot. Like, people are always looking for a deal. They're always looking for the cheapest fucking thing they can find.
Yeah.
And these kind of situations don't help. Unfortunately, it makes it to where the collecting side of it is now, we talked about earlier the different reasons why we collect, and now it's just becoming about money. It's only becoming about how we can profit from it. And it almost kind of even takes the fun out of this kind of stuff sometimes, to an
100%.
extent, Like when you first showed me the Spawn comic, I was like, dude, this is the dopest comic I've ever seen, right? But then once we did more digging on it, I'm like, and now you can kind of care less about it, right? Now, it's still rare in that fact that this is one of the ones that got out, so it's kind of rare in that respect. But is it worth 10 grand anymore? No, unfortunately. But it depends. Like, if you can kind of corner the market on all those books, then maybe, but.
And it's interesting, dude, because, like, so in this situation, I can tell you through doing the research, essentially what happened is they brought the 50 books, passed them out to whoever. Somebody was tasked with destroying the rest of the event, right? Because these are just employees that are getting paid by the hour. I guarantee it, dude. Tell me I'm fucking wrong. Yeah. They're just some employees. They don't give a shit, dude. They're paid by the hour. They have boxes and boxes of these books that were left there at the event, and they're like, hey, only passes out to the attendees. They took some home for themselves, right? Yeah. So then they grab, they're like, hey, the rest of these have to get thrown in the dumpster, destroyed, whatever. I'm sure they did destroy some of them. Mm-hmm. But what happened? How did some person walk away with a full box, right? A full box to drop off at this guy's shop. So somewhere, some way, someone walked away with a box. Maybe they destroyed half. Maybe they didn't. I don't freaking know. Nobody
boxes.
Boxes, right? To make it look like it happened. Now, so McFarlane's organization did make a statement on this book because CGC even was like, hey, what's going on with this, man? We're seeing these books get graded. They're supposed to be rare. There's only supposed to be 50 that were out there. And now we're seeing a flood of these.
Yeah.
What is going on? And they're like, to our knowledge, we only released X amount. They didn't accept any kind of liability for it, but they also didn't say that, they didn't clarify what happened. So again, which adds more to this whole mystique of what freaking happened with this damn book. Hey guys, this episode of Real Talk Russ is brought to you by Mad Rabbit Tattoo Aftercare. This product here is fantastic. We all use it for our tattoos. As you can see, we're sleeved out, and it's been used on my arms, all across my body, and it works fantastic. So for 20% off, guys, go to realtalkruss.com. Use our code RealTalkRuss. You'll get 20% off your entire order or any product you buy. You can find that link also in our link tree or our website. Please go to it. both Tyler and I use it. We love it.
I wish I would have found it much sooner. I've had tattoos my whole life, and some of them have not turned out the best. But with the recent tattoos I've had, I love what I'm getting from them. So you guys definitely check it out.
You guys probably recognize them from Shark Tank. I can tell you they're phenomenal. So go check them out. Use code RealTalkRuss for 20% off your entire order. What adds even more, I think, kind of almost, I don't even know what the right word is, mystery to it is now you have people destroying the books. So now how many are even out there?
It might become rare again.
We don't know how many got destroyed. We don't know how many got destroyed from people just being pissed off and fucking fuck this book, right? We don't know how many were sold. We don't know any of these things. So it's still, in some weird way, one of the rarest books.
That's what I was getting at. It's like the initial fear of everyone finding out there's books makes it less rare, right? But then when you find out the situation, what's happened with burning books and all that, like it's actually even rarer in a different way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like kind of a unicorn in that respect. Like even in the card community, employees from like Pokemon, these comic book collectors, all this, or like the Marvel, wherever, they get their own copies of these things, right? And so then they're now reselling them in 2024 because they're so expensive. The original box of cards that we used to buy, they're going for like $16,000 to $20,000 now.
You told me this, but you remember that when the first Pokemon movie came out here in the US,
Mm-hmm.
You remember the cards that we got, dude? Everyone got one of these. I had them.
Yeah, we threw them in the fucking trash. The Mew.
Everyone fucking was chucking them, dude. They're like, whatever, no big deal.
I got them from fucking Cinemark.
Yeah. I kept mine. I don't know where it was at now, but I kept it. And I know, dude.
Don't piss me off.
Yeah, I know. That's a whole nother story. But getting back to that, like, dude, what the fuck? And now these are going for a lot. Mm-hmm. People want it because everyone was just fucking. Kids were just like, it's a throwaway card. It's no big deal, right? But because they treated it that way, it became rare. And
given time, right? So like, say in another 20 years, if everyone just said, fuck this comic, I'm done, and then there's really only 50 copies left, then it just reverts right back to it. And now with time and inflation, it's even more money.
But it's like, it also brings a little bit of a scariness. So like with a lot of numbered exclusive type things, right? Like I buy like these EFX Star Wars, replica lightsabers and stuff, and they're all numbered, right? You have 1 through 500 or whatever their manufacturing number is going to be. So that now caps it, right? It tells you it's going to be a rare item.
Yep.
But then you still have other proofs, as they say, of different types. So you have like an artist proof. Mm-hmm. Now, artist proofs aren't numbered. So there's going to be so many artist proofs. Now, what is an artist proof? It could be one of the ones that they manufactured was damaged during shipping, like just destroyed, and that's before it even made it to them. So rather than recreate that number, they don't want to do that. They create an artist proof.
Yeah.
Maybe you pre-ordered it, they send you the artist proof. They say, hey, here, you get this one.
Yeah.
It's not numbered. So now technically it's like, it's a weird number because they're not numbering it officially, but if there was 500, now there's 510 if they made 10 artist proofs or whatever the case is, right? However many. We never know because they don't even number the artist proofs. So they could make 20, they could make 200.
So are those rarer in that case, like the artist proof ones?
And with certain things, it's harder. So with comics, artist proofs are a whole other thing. But with like hard collectibles that are manufactured, like I said, like a lightsaber, not really. They're almost not even, like there's certain people that only go after APs or artist proofs because that's just what they want to collect. There's other people, like for myself, I want a numbered one because I want to know where it stands. Lower numbers typically more sought after, but I just want to know where it stands in the manufacturing line, right? When it comes to hard collectibles. When it comes to books, an artist proof is going to be the artist's personal copy almost.
Yeah.
So like an artist will get 10 copies and those are AP 1 through 10. And so that artist, if you're the artist, you drew up the Spawn comic, you get 10 and those are yours to keep. So in that case, an artist proof could be very valuable, very collectible.
I would think if the artist is, the bigger the artist, the bigger the AP, I would assume, right? So like if McFarlane had 10 copies, like, hey, I got an AP from McFarlane versus, like obviously somewhat different. Like,
you're talking just mad money, right? Yeah. Like I have 2 APs from Ariel Diaz, and she actually did full remarks on these, and these are CGC graded books. Yeah. She posted it, one of them, it's a black cat, and she posted it on Instagram, right? People were trying to buy it, and it's my book. They're like, dude, and she's like, she literally was like, hey, it's already sold, like I did this it was for me, which is really cool, but that's just one of those things, like, and that's on her AP1. That's an AP1. I've seen guys listing the same thing, and it's like an AP4 or whatever, and I'm like, dude, I got one way more valuable than that. But it's like,
right here.
Value to whom, right? And that's kind of what this whole thing is about. What if Ariel Diaz is like, hey, I actually got 30 more of these AP ones.
Yeah.
Now that just makes my book worthless.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like, and that's essentially what happened with this. Maybe not worthless to me because I still value it for what it is, but again, for that person who's buying it for rarity, it becomes worthless, and that's where people talk about the doomsday scenario for collectors.
Yeah, like that initial rush that bought those. I bet, those people are killing themselves right now, man. Like it's,
dude, you drop 10 grand on a book like that. You know what I'm saying? Like real talk. You spend even 5,000, dude, on that book because you're thinking, dude, this is the rarest thing I'm gonna find. Bam, here it is, $5 grand, and then 3 weeks later, some fucking guy's penny auctioning one.
I'm fucking that dude up. Dude, I'm sorry, man. Like,
I don't know, driving to fucking Massachusetts.
I'm going to prison for this shit, dude.
We're gonna fight, dude.
It's the principle of this thing.
Principle, baby.
But you can't even be mad at the person you sold it from. Like, unless they were the ones directly distributing all this 400 copies or whatever, right? Like, in that case, yeah. But, like, say I came to you and you were under the assumption that this is how, X amount of dollars, and then I bought it from you from that, and then we both find out, like, I can't be mad at you for that. But, like you said, it does. A lot of the collectible collection or like sales are from private collectors. It's not always on Whatnot. It's not always on eBay or those kind of things. I see videos of all the time of people like meeting in parking lots and exchanging 10 grand worth of cards or comics, right? And it kind of stops all that, and it puts that fear in the back of your mind, man. Like
at any point in time, dude, someone can just come forth and say, hey, you thought this, if Robert Downey Jr. like showed up and, like at the time I got this book signed by him, if he shows up, tomorrow and was like, hey guys, by the way, like that's like signing, it wasn't that exclusive. I actually signed like 10,000 items that day. At that point, he's like, oh yeah, those War Machines actually signed like, 3,500. Like,
or they reprinted my signature on all of them.
Yeah, it's like at that point it just devalues everything. So it's like that would be like a kind of doomsday scenario for anyone that's like collecting that, those pictures, the one that you and I have, like on our wall, signed by some whoever. Like if there was so many of those made and they're not really rare anymore, fuck, man, that kind of takes away the money you might value or how you value it. Once again, it all depends. Certain people collect for different reasons.
Yeah,
you stated that very clearly.
Yeah.
For you, wouldn't fucking matter.
Yeah, I don't
it
care.
wouldn't fucking matter. Like you're like, I don't give a shit. It's the memory that I have to that item, and I kind of agree with you.
I don't care if James signed it. It's still the memory that I had.
Yeah.
But to the
guy that dropped $5 grand.
Yeah, this is a very big business, right? So like, and it's all money driven for the most part, And if you're losing all that money, people will move on, man. Like we talked to a guy. Don't spoil it too much. We interviewed a guy for the podcast that was initially into sports cars and then sports cards. Sorry, not sports cars. And the industry changed so much for him. He switched genres, dude, and now he's making a killing in comic books. So like. People will move on. They will take their money somewhere else and find a way to spend it, dude. Like I remember when fucking Beanie Babies were the biggest thing, right?
God.
But it was a collectible,
dude.
right?
Yep.
Like I never collected any of them.
Furbies, remember those fucking things?
Yeah, and people were like legitimately after first edition fucking of those things, right? And those things were super collectible at the time. Now, you ain't getting shit for them.
There might still be a market for it, but it's so niche, dude.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's not like where everyone was like, they were going to like, fucking CVS and Rite Aid to pick up these things, Oh, the new one came out and everyone was like, people like lions, remember? But people, it's like all this is based off of people, dude. It all comes down to people. Like we make things rare in our own heads.
Yeah.
Like fucking when we were kids at Tickle Me Elmo, remember people were fist fighting at fucking Toys R Us for this goddamn thing?
Yeah.
Like that shit happens, dude. And it's kind of funny in a way, like to realize that we rarify our own fucking our own air, dude. Like we really do.
This is the first edition Real Talk Russ. Actually, is.
It really
but,
is.
Like, you know what I mean? But like, I can tell you, this is worth 10 grand, and if it's important to people, they'll do it.
They will.
But
and it's like I said, it's crazy. So, would you be scared personally if something you have of value, right, a collectible of value, this scenario happens to one of those things that you have personally for you?
I wouldn't be scared. It's me. I deal with things immediately in the moment. Right, like we were at a convention and I bought a card that was pretty expensive that I was seeking after for a long time. The moment I got home, I wanted to sell it. I was like, man, I'm over it. You know what I mean? So like, it would suck. Yeah, dude, I'd be fucking pissed off. But at that point, what am I gonna do? I'm either going to fuck up the guy who did it, or I'm just gonna cut my losses, dude. You know what I mean? It's like one or two. Which one's more feasible right now? Like, am I driving to fucking Massachusetts to beat up some fucking nerd in the basement, or am I just gonna cut my losses and try to go for it, man? But excuse me, what it would affect is my buying in the future. And that's, I think, what's the poison that we're talking about here today. It's like, we love this community so much. We love comics, we love collectibles, all those kind of things. We love Marvel, we love DC, the whole genre of everything, right? The moment you start taking away from that, then we lose all the excitement of it, man. And that's what, those kind of things scare me the most. It's not so much the monetary value, is more as the interest, because and those come together, right? Like, obviously, like, we're going to spend money for things we like, but the moment you take away the interest from me because of stupid bullshit, then I'll start losing interest, man. And that's what I don't want to do. I don't want to lose interest. Like, me and my daughter and my girlfriend sit in bed and watch anime all night. I don't want something to take away from those moments. Take away where we can just sit and chill and watch anime because of, whatever the reason is. And I want to collect, I want to invest, I want to do all those things, but it would make me very scared to do it. You know what I mean?
It takes me back to when we were kids, dude. You remember, like, Pokemon cards, and I can say this, in a safe environment now because we're not gonna get judged.
We're safe. Nobody's watching.
Yeah, no one's watching. But I can say it, like, you remember people were faking the Pokemon cards, dude, and they
still
were
do.
selling them. Well, and that's why I don't get it, and that's honestly why I don't get into Pokemon cards. Like, people be like, yeah, but you can tell now. The funny thing is now some of the fakes are even worth money, which is fucking weird.
Yes.
But and the original fakes are actually worth a lot. Like, when we were kids, dude, those fucking fakes are going for a lot because they could date them now.
You know what they call them is they're called error cards. Some of them are error cards, but dude, some of them go for a lot of money.
And that's the thing. I remember being a kid, dude. Like, we looked at two side by sides, right? One was real, one was fake, and it was hard as fuck to tell, dude.
Yeah.
It was hard. Now, I go for things now that, like, it's a comic. You can't fake a comic. Like, that shit is like, dude, if you fake a comic, man,
You deserve it.
You deserve
You
it.
deserve
My
it.
hat's
I'll
off
take
to
it.
you. I'll fucking probably buy it from you because I'm like, damn, that's pretty dope. You're gonna print this whole damn thing.
Yeah.
But it just really comes down to that too. Is like, it kind of does scare me a little bit with cards, dude. And that's why I take my hat off to you because you collect a lot of cards, dude. A lot of Pokemon cards. People were doing this with baseball cards, dude. If you had in the '90s, if you had a fucking Daryl Strawberry, like, we're talking rookie, dude. Yep. You were the fucking coolest kid on the block, dude. You had money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You had fucking legitimate money, dude. Now, like, those are rare, and the graded ones are freaking insane. And that's why I have a lot of respect for any company that does true, legit grading.
And that's why I seek out a lot of graded cards, because you can verify them, right? Yep. You can verify who graded it, where it was, time and date. I do like raw cards. I like raw comics, but I tend to not spend as much raw, except for the one card I was chasing. And I also go through buyers that I trust, right? Like the guy that we met at that convention that I bought that card from. And so when I met him, like, I felt comfortable right away. Because I remember if you, I don't know if you were there when I actually purchased, I don't think you were. I think you were off buying your own shit. But the original copy that I was going to buy, once I did all the transaction, he's like, actually, I'm going to give you this one. And he pulled, like, under the desk, and I showed it, and it was a much better copy, dude. So I I trust him in that.
How many fucking cards did he have?
No, he's got a shit ton. I mean, it's what he does for a living, right? So
he's like, actually, I'm going to pull up this wallet copy.
Not that one was fake or the other, but one was just better, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I know your brother, or, I know you, I've seen you in my streams. He's like, you know what? We'll throw that out there, know? And so, and I looked at it actually this morning. I was like, damn, the copy's clean, dude. You know what I mean? So the other copy wasn't as good, but I still would have paid for it, So that's why I build those relationships with collectors, senders, and all those kind of things, right? So I know that I'm not getting fucked over. And I think that's where the relationship building is important, right? So, like, you have vendors for comics that you go through that knowingly don't have 400 copies and won't tell you. You know what I mean? Like the guy that you found this whole thing from.
And he
told you, but he told you. He fucked someone over, but
he fucked a lot of people. Yeah. Like, I'm going to be real. Like, is he a nice guy? Sure, he's a nice guy with me, but let's call a spade, dude. And that's why I said this is real talk, man. You don't like it, don't fucking listen. But he fucked over a lot of people. Yeah. The guy that I got this book from fucked over a shit ton of people. If we're being real, man.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, I mean, I bought this from him, so he technically fucked me over. We know it wasn't worth some crazy amount, right? If we really are being honest and we look at it, it's, once again, what is something worth? Yeah. What anyone will pay. Yeah. But my point being is, like, he knew he had these books and he slowly trickled them out. He could have fucked people over a lot worse, right? He could have, over the course of 10 years, taken hundreds of thousands from people, sold each one for $6,000, and somebody would have bought one every single time until eventually people would have put two and two together and been like, hey, dude, there's like hundreds of these have been sold. How is that possible? Yeah. Like, and someone would have caught on. He had 400 copies in his box. 400 copies, dude. Like that's not, that's not a mistake. And he got that.
Times 6.
Yeah,
do the math. It's a fucking lot.
And I can tell you the person that he got the books from works for a major company.
Of course, it's the only way you're getting.
But that kind of oversees them being NetherRealm. So put 2 and 2 together there. Yeah, exactly. Like fucking eyes peeking. I'm just saying, like, so how many other employees took them? And how many other employees were doing it? We know that one guy on Reddit that was doing it. And that's kind of my point. Like, I think Comic Tom was talking about this he did a whole podcast on this. He didn't have as much information as I did, which respect, he doesn't know the people I know.
Yep.
He's got his own following and a huge guy. Comic Tom, you're a good guy, man. We love you. But once again, I was just more tuned into this. This is why I'm doing this episode, is because I had connections with the person who started this whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
And hopefully people don't come after me for it.
So Russ is the problem. That's
Right, they're all
curious.
like, fuck that guy, cancel
The mystery guy with the 400 books?
Yeah. It was you and me. No, it was not me. I promise, dude. I wouldn't be sitting here if I capitalized on that shit. But I can tell you, like, technically this guy did fuck over people, man, and that we should talk about that because it's real. Someone can't be like, oh, like, that was your buddy or whatever. Like, I'm being honest about this whole thing, and like that's kind of what brings like this whole thing to light is like at the blink of an eye, drop of a hat, drop of a pen, whatever you want to say, dude. Something that's valuable can instantly become irrelevant, no longer valuable.
Because it reverts back to like with cards, it's cardboard. It's a little cardboard with a picture on it, dude. You know what I mean?
Paper,
and that's what like me and my brother talk about. I was like, I can't believe we're spending fucking $5,000 on a fucking piece of cardboard, bro. But it's valuable in the eye of the beholder, and so it's crazy, dude. But
value and worth is only what we put on it, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you made that point within the first 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Anyone could just want to fast forward, they could just listen to the first 3 seconds when you're talking about why you collect, and that's the whole message right there.
Yeah.
That's the whole message, brother, is like literally for the memory, for something that's going to make you smile for even only a millisecond, but you will have that peace and that happiness. I think those collectors are truly at peace with themselves.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I think if you, and this is my opinion, don't like it, I don't care. But I think if you're collecting for the wrong reasons, because you want to have the stash load of fucking money, or you want to have, you want to hoard something, or you want to be like that rare item, and you want to be that cool kid on the block, you're going to be the guy that one day gets disappointed.
Yeah.
One day you'll be disappointed because it's not going to turn out in your favor. You know what I'm saying? But for guys like, you, me, and other guys out there that collect for different reasons, and they just want to be able to look at something and smile and be happy with it. They don't give a fuck if 50 people own it or 5 million people own it. Yeah. They're going to be happy with it. I think you have a sense of internal peace. And if this doomsday scenario happens, you don't give a fuck.
Well, dude, James did that. He was, and not to put his business out there, but I'm going to put all his business out there.
James.
He was in Atlanta a couple months back, and he stopped at a comic book store, right? He sent me pictures of it. He bought like a group of like random ass comics, not valuable for shit, but it made him think about me, made him think about you, and it made him think about stuff he likes. Like that's the collector that I enjoy, right? And he just pulled out a bag of comics like, hey, which one do you want? Like these all made me kind of think of you type thing, right? And still in my office at work, chilling, But then that's how we tie each other together, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, like I buy Jen a fucking $3 Snorlax card, dude. She fucking lights up. She's happy all night, right? And it's like those simple things, right? That's how I get out of trouble a lot. Don't tell her. But it's like simple shit like that, Like we've exchanged valuables or collectibles that are not valuable, but we're like, that's fucking dope, Like it's just what we like, And to me, I never want to lose sight of that aspect, And I think why we're so passionate about it, like everyone's got different things that ties them to their family, right? Like I was talking to a coworker yesterday, and summer thunderstorms fucking somehow relate to his family, and they do some weird gay shit, but he loves it, right? And you know who are, and I know you're gonna watch this, but like it like brings him back to a moment that he had with his family that makes him happy, right? And so like me reading Spawn with my brother when I was a kid, like it brings me back to that shit, dude. And it's just momentary, bro. But like, yeah, it's just so it's why we do what we do, man. And it's why we brought this podcast out. Like me and you have always enjoyed just having these conversations about just anything, right? But just getting down to like the realist aspect of it, what I mean? Dude. And it's like you can turn on this podcast, see a comic, like, oh great, they're gonna talk about a fucking comic. But we've talked about so much more than that. Like what the meaning behind it is. You know what I mean? Like me and you can get sick of looking at each other fucking standing in front of each other for 24 hours without saying anything, right? But if we have substance to talk about and what relates us to each other, I think that's some of the most important parts of just relationship building in general. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
dude, and that's what makes it real, dude. That's the real talk aspect, you know, and it's more than just you or me, you know. It's what we're kind of like leaving behind in this whole aspect of the message that we're conveying, dude. And that's kind of I think the point is anybody can tune in, dude, and hear what we were talking about and probably relate in one degree or another. We know a lot of people, dude. So yeah, we're on Whatnot. We do sell on Whatnot. Mm-hmm. We're on eBay. We do sell on eBay. But it's more than that. It's like, why are we selling? Well, it helps fund what we're doing now, right? It helps fund what we're doing now. And it's a way to kind of tie in like some of our passions to like business. Like, because at the end of the day, it's a business, right?
Yeah.
It's 100%. This podcast is a business, dude. Yep. If this is not profitable for you or me, we're not going to be able to continue on doing it.
Yep.
So we have to find ways to fund it. And point of fact, that's why we do what we do.
Yeah. But
it still ties back into being at peace with like and getting a message out, being at peace with ourselves, man. And like I say, I look at it, man. And I'm okay with this scenario. I'm okay with what I spent on this. I didn't spend no crazy, absurd, you know, 15 grand. At one point in time, someone had it listed for 16,000, dude. That's crazy. You know, and this one's signed. You know, I eventually will get it signed by McFarlane.
Yeah.
So I'll have him sign it.
Then it'll be worth 16 grand.
And then it'll be worth a lot more, right? But there's speculations because he hasn't signed one yet that he might not even sign them.
I can see that. Like, given he already had to put out a statement saying like, "Hey, we're not."
Yeah, he might see that book, dude. And everyone who's gone through CGC or CBCS and done signings, you guys know that an artist can refuse to sign anything. They can say, "No, I'm not signing that."
Yep.
You know, and like if I were to sign that, you can ask, "Would you sell it?" No, I would not sell it. I would probably keep it for myself. Why? Just because of the simple fact. I don't know what you do. Just for the simple fact, he's distracting us, guys.
Sorry, I just saw James.
If you saw what we saw. But yeah, just for the simple fact of, like I said, there's a story behind it, and you know, it's cool shit. It's all gonna hang on to.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, man, like you just never know, dude. You never fucking know. So for those guys that got fucked on this, sorry.
Sucks to suck.
Sucks to suck. Sorry. For those that didn't get fucked and were like, hey, I'm glad I didn't buy it, you know, and you know, I bid 16 grand and you know, someone outbid me with 17, whatever. Maybe you got lucky.
Be happy.
Yeah, be happy.
At least for now.
But yeah, I think that's what we're gonna wrap on that pretty much, and that's gonna be the end of this. But like I said, what makes something rare? I think at the end of the day, something is only worth what someone's willing to pay. And that's the first thing I learned about comics, dude. The first thing you learn.
Anything really, yeah.
Like
comics especially.
Yeah, but you're right. It's anything. Any kind of collectible you have, it's only worth what someone else will pay.
Yeah.
So it's not worth it. To whom? To you maybe, but to someone else it might be worth double that. You never know.
Well, even take real quick, like you and your $1 million Mustangs that you buy. Like to me, it's not worth that, but to you it is, and to the whole community it is. You know, to me it's a car. Like you know me with cars. Like, does it fucking get me to where I need to go? I'm cool, man. But like, there's people that are into that stuff, man.
And I've kind of died out on that too.
You
have.
Yeah.
I've definitely chilled out on that. Like I've learned the hard way, dude. All it takes is one fucking drunk driver to T-bone you, and you're fucking.
To be fair, he's only bought one Mustang this year. It's better than most years where he's buying like 3 or 4. So we're doing better.
I'm telling you, man. Like, but all it takes is that to take everything away, dude. And it's the same thing like what we talked about there. All it takes is some person to say, "Oh, here's 500 more of these comics, not rare anymore."
Yep.
Hey, drunk driver crashed into you. Your rare car, not rare anymore.
Gone.
It's fucking gone.
Done, son.
Anything can get taken away from us. That's why I think at the end of the day, the real talk message on this one, dude, is why we value people and each other, dude.
Yeah.
Why we value the relationships over the fucking physicality of it. I love this comic, the RDJ War Machine, not because RGJ signed it, because Stan Lee signed it. Yeah, that's great. That adds to the effect. But because, you know what? My mom first showed me, you know, War Machine. That's why I love that comic, dude. That's why I own it now in that condition that I own it in. I wish I still had my freaking copy that I had when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I don't, but that's as close as I can get to
Closest
connect.
thing,
And now it's pristine. It's like, that shit was all fucking raggedy, dude. The one I had is all fucking beat up.
Graded 1.3.
Right? Yeah, dude. Not even be like a 0.5, dude.
Yeah.
That shit was all fucked up. But you know, at the end of the day, who cares? Like that's what connects us to it, and it's the relationships, and that's what we value. And so the real talk message on this one is value each other, value relationships.
Yeah.
You know, this shit will all get taken away from us. We ain't gonna take this shit to the grave, dude. We could take it with us in the box and we get fucking buried.
You guys aren't getting that shit.
Yeah, he's gonna. Yeah, if he gets cremated, dude, he's getting burned with him. So fucking.
Would that make my ashes more valuable? First edition?
Probably could, dude. You sprinkle some of that shit. Hey, you can make diamonds out of your ashes. You know what? That shit's valuable as fuck.
Yeah, it is.
And I just sold my grandpa. Like, dude, what do you mean you sold your grandpa? Dude.
Made 16 grand.
Made 60 grand on my grandpa. Damn, that's fucked, dude.
That's fucked.
That's terrible.
But anyway, yeah, like 100%. Like, we
I'm getting canceled in a fucking comment, dude. This guy sold his grandpa. What?
grandpa's gonna come back and go, what the fuck do you say?
Right.
But yeah, just value the people, value the relationships, and what bonds you guys together, right? And like me and my brother, like I talk about him a lot, but I'll never tell him to his face how valuable he is to me. But like I can tell him like this is the kind of shit that made me look up to him to be my hero, right? Even though he's a fucking dick, but you know, like,
Yeah, he is.
he still is. But you know, and those are the
He's
kind of
great,
things.
though.
You
He's
know,
great. He's fucking great as fuck.
he's your best friend,
That's actually my real best friend, guys. In case you guys didn't know. Yeah.
and he won't be on the podcast. Fuck you guys. But yeah,
Maybe we can get him on one day. Maybe. Yeah, we'll see. He might just fucking piss everybody off, dude. They'd be like, oh my God, that guy. I'll just be like, yes. But yeah. As always, guys, thanks for joining us. We're going to wrap with that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned a little bit about that. Like I said, shout out to everyone who ever covered a topic or this topic in general on this comic. You know, you guys are all to be valued. Whether you had all the information we had, whether you had different aspects, different opinions on it, doesn't matter. You guys, it's all great, and we appreciate all of it. Like I said, Comic Tom, your video on YouTube was great too. So if you see this, man, a shout out to you. Hopefully this gave you a little bit of insight too, because I know you were like, dude, that's freaking insane.
Yeah.
And then to everyone, like I said, if you know who this person was, don't expose them. It doesn't even matter. That's not what it's about. That's not what any of this is about. It's just about talking about that message that we just kind of recapped right there. So as always, guys, thank you for following us. RealTalkRuss.com is where you can go for all things Real Talk Russ. Ty's info's on there. My info's on there. The new episodes are always playing on there. Spotify, Apple Podcasts. It's all there, guys. Linktree. It's all there. Much love. Much appreciated. I guess, yeah. Thanks for keeping it real, guys. And tune in on the next one. Appreciate y'all.